Welcome to another episode of the Online Prosperity Experience podcast. You're about to hear your host, Prosper Taravinga's powerful digital marketing strategies and actionable tactics that you can use right now. Prosper has helped more than 50,000 people from over 10 countries to create meaningful businesses that are profitable and enjoyable. Listen to this podcast so that you too can build your own business with less stress and overwhelm. Let's get started.
Make your next online meeting the best one yet. Now, I suppose if you're a coach or consultant listening to this, or a marketing professional within any business, you have probably set into a Zoom meeting by now. If not, you're in the wrong business, my friend. All right. So obviously, at the end of the day, we're dealing with our clients remotely, and we are trying to solve their problems without interacting with them face to face. And how best can we actually do that? Technology has made it possible so that we can have Zoom meetings or Teams meetings or just virtual meetings, depending on what platform you are used to. So do you sometimes groan when you have to think of yet another virtual meeting? If you're like that, then you're in luck, my friend, because after this podcast, I'm going to be letting you know just basically 5 mistakes that a lot of people are making, within their Zoom or virtual meeting encounters that actually make other people not want to meet them, or are actually hurting their growth or their sales, just predicated on them not actually just following best practices on how to conduct a virtual meeting and how to actually run the perfect virtual meeting with your clients, with your stakeholders, and people that are going to be supporting your business. And obviously, moving forward, the world has become a global village. You are not going to be obviously speaking and be present to all the clients, all the stakeholders that need maybe your consulting, your training, your information, your expertise, and your paid speaking gigs. And it's actually profitable if you don't have to fly, if you don't have to drive to go anywhere else or get stuck in traffic, and you can literally talk to more people by leveraging the online virtual meeting platforms and tools that we now have. And you still find that a lot of consultants still have a bit of angst when it comes to coming through to a Zoom meeting. I absolutely love a virtual life. I've literally created my whole life and business model to make it so much that I don't even have to go and see anyone if I can help it. Unless somebody's signing maybe a $50,000 check, then maybe I might want to go and press flesh with them, or hands. Sorry, I don't know how that sounds in your wicked mind, but yeah, shake hands with them and literally break bread or share whiskey and clink some glasses just to celebrate whatever achievement we would have done. But if you literally need to just be present for a maximum maybe 20 minutes, there's no point in slapping yourself across town and navigating through all this climate change just so you can go and sit in a place where you're only needed for 5 minutes. All right. So if you find yourself groaning over having yet another virtual meeting, or you feel burnt out, after sitting in front of your camera all day, or experience what they've called Zoom fatigue, then I'm afraid you might not be, creating a business that's profitable and enjoyable, in terms of you actually running an online business. All right. So, like I said, if you have virtual meetings and they leave you with what they now call Zoom fatigue, maybe you're doing something wrong. Okay. What if you actually had those meetings and they didn't leave you with any fatigue, but instead they actually left you feeling energized and motivated and raring to get on to your next meeting? I must tell you something. I actually built my business predicated on Zoom. If Zoom didn't exist, my business wouldn't be as big as it is right now. I wouldn't be serving as many people as I do right now, and I wouldn't have created the personal brand that I actually now have. Okay, I'll tell you a little bit about how I actually got started. So when I was reaching out to businesses that I could help, start, scale, and grow, I actually was, reaching out to them and inviting them to a virtual meeting. So I was reaching out to people that were interstate. I was reaching out to people that were overseas. I was just reaching out to just about everybody else from the comfort of my bedroom. Okay. And literally from then on, I created systems and processes so much that right now I can't function outside of my house. If I'm out there, I'm literally a nobody. But if I'm in my own zone, on my throne right now, I literally am on top of the world. I'm running the whole universe. Okay. The reason why this is because how I started reaching out to people was I was inviting them to come for an interview with me over Zoom. Okay. So I was inviting coaches, consultants, and people that I wanted to become my customers, and we would literally, put them on my TV show. Okay, the one thing about that is it was basically helping them amplify their message while I'm also getting access to them without the hey, can we work together? Backlog that a lot of people despise so much. Okay, so I was offering something unique to the marketplace. I even have 240 videos that I created with a lot of people, which now created social proof for me, because people started thinking, hey, if this guy is talking and communicating with so many people like this, that must mean he knows what he's talking about. And eventually the people that I was talking to after the interview, I'll be like, you know what, I was looking at your website, maybe you could fix 2, 3, or 4 things and it would increase your revenue. And eventually we might end up doing business together. Or they might recommend me to some of their clients since they're coaches and consultants. Now, can you see how I started utilizing virtual meetings to literally put my name out there and to actually be known by people that I wanted to become my customers? Now, when, the pandemic hit, everybody else just started using Zoom and it became a norm. Even my 3-year-old knows how to attend kindergarten using a Zoom conference, all right? So you literally, as a person who's building a business that's profitable and enjoyable, you literally can work from anywhere else if you have access to tools like Zoom or meetings where you can talk to anybody in the comfort of wherever you are, okay? And I've spent thousands of hours in meetings. Like literally every meeting that I've ever had ever since has been on Zoom. There's times when I literally had 10 or 14 meetings at a time. Some are probably 15-minute meetings, some are 30-minute meetings, depending on what was happening at that particular time. And I even incorporated virtual networking. All right, this virtual networking actually got me to win an award during the pandemic for being the networker of the year. So I've got a thing or two that I can tell you about, Zoom and how you can literally enhance your business and make it easy for anybody else who is going to be attending meetings with you. The more you do these meetings, the more you know how to actually interact with people. Yes, I can understand you can't read a lot of the body language. Some people don't want their camera on during a Zoom session. Whatever it is, there's certain things that you can literally do to boost your own business, to boost your sales, to boost your own self-confidence, and to increase your revenue, and to actually run better online meetings that will literally enhance your position and your thought leadership and things of that nature. Okay, so without further ado, I just want to get you to have that animosity around showing up on camera. It's the easiest thing that you can do for yourself. And I pretty much understand why a lot of people have a problem when dealing with Zoom, because you're looking at yourself while you're speaking to the other person, which literally means you're judging yourself. Your own self-talk comes into play. Do you know why they put mirrors at the back of the barman in some really fancy bars is so that people do not yell at the barman if they get the order wrong. Because if you're looking at yourself, you actually start becoming self-conscious that, oh, wait a minute, people like us don't do things like this. All right. So when you're sitting in a Zoom room there, you're looking at yourself, while you're talking to the other person. So you are always very conscious about how you look, how you're sitting, and everything else. And half of the time, you probably end up not listening or not participating, or you actually start thinking that, whatever you're going to say is going to be wrong and you're going to be judged and everybody else is going to be seeing it, especially if the Zoom meeting is being recorded. So this is what you need to be aware of, that the person you're having a meeting with is also going through those self-limiting beliefs. And like I always say, everything is an illusion. You might as well pick an illusion that empowers you. And right about now, I'm going to be giving you 4 principles to actually have better virtual meetings. All right. So for you to run better meetings, there's going to be 4 things that I actually do. And once you know how to look out for these things, your meetings are going to be bliss and people are going to be thanking you for actually making their lives better after having spoken to you. The one thing that you need to do is space. Give people space. I mean, often when someone is presenting, right, they normally are very conscious about everything else that they're doing. Just allow people to figure out technology, allow people to log in and be comfortable, allow people to tinker with their their microphone or whatever it is that just makes them comfortable. Don't try and make it out like, hey, you're on mute, or you know what I mean, or make people feel very uncomfortable when it comes to an online space. One thing that would actually make people retract in their own hole is when they're being told off, for maybe showing up maybe late or not being able to juggle with technology, because we already assume that everybody knows how to deal with these platforms. But where was the courses for this? There's not a lot of courses that help people actually understand how to effectively jump on and, what to do when they jump onto a Zoom meeting or a Teams meeting. All right. And one other thing is, you need to ensure that people feel safe. All right, while they're talking to you on the meeting. All right, if people don't want to be recorded, don't record the meeting. If people don't want to show their video, don't coax them to want to show their video. All right. An effective meeting is one way everybody feels safe to actually think out loud, safe to participate, safe to be involved in the meeting. All in all, some people are just naturally quiet or reserved than others. That might, they might want to share, but, the temperament is probably holding them back. So make sure that everybody's involved. While you're speaking on the Zoom, if there's 4 people, make sure you stop at every juncture to see if everyone is following, with what you're saying. Otherwise, once you ignore someone and they don't feel heard or seen, guess what happens? They are actually going to be doing something else and not be actually engaged with the conversation that you're having with them. Okay? But it's often these people, that are quiet, that always have something interesting and very useful ideas, when it comes to having a meeting. So you want to make sure that everybody is fully engaged and is collaborating, because if you can make it safe to think out loud and include everyone, you actually get a more diverse mixture of thought. You actually have more ideas, and other people can actually come out of their shell and share and collaborate with you. And speaking of collaboration, being direct or frank doesn't come naturally to a lot of people, right? So if you if you're leading the team or if you're leading the virtual meeting, if you speak with candor in a very collaborative way, you actually get the best of both worlds. All right. So help other people get out of their shell and actually give them fodder in order for them to collaborate, because most meetings what people just end up saying, hey, this could have been an email, simply predicated on the fact that you haven't been involving the other people that showed up and took the time to be sitting in that meeting. And what was the point of you not inviting them for them to collaborate their idea or opinion, you could have just sent them an email. Okay, I mean, you might have an agenda to which the meeting has to follow through, and so does everybody else who shows up. All right, they could have been doing something instead of sitting in front of that screen, being judged. All right, so when you're collaborating with the people that are on the meeting, it's about finding ways to actually meet everyone in the middle and get everybody's opinion and have everybody else heard. Let me tell you something that happens with people that are executives or coaches or people that are of authority. They are surrounded by yes people all the time. Okay, people that don't literally listen to them, and they cannot share ideas or opinions with them because these people are just there to execute orders from them. So if you now show up as that one person who listens, who interacts, and actually gives people an opportunity to collaborate, you, my friend, would have made the participants of that virtual meetings day. All right, so I'm also going to be giving a download report that I wrote, which has got 5 virtual networking mistakes to avoid. So make sure you download that. It comes with this podcast. All right. One other thing that happens during a virtual meeting is, even though you are not seeing somebody face to face, there's an element of vulnerability that happens while people are being exposed or put in a live setting. Okay, you want to make sure that people feel that they are understood. Because when they're asking questions, or when they're asking to be involved, or they're participating or raising their hands, if somebody feels ignored, they will actually retract, and you will never get anything coming out of them. Okay, so you want to make sure that everyone is really following. They have an understanding of why they are there, because they could have been doing something else in between those minutes that you're taking away from them. Okay, so for you to have a perfect meeting, you need to pretty much set the stage. If you can send a meeting prior, so that you can understand, the people that are coming to the virtual meeting understand the foundation of why they're needed to participate in that meeting. Okay, context is everything. All right, if you don't have context or a structure to follow through, some people might not follow. Okay, so instead of you expecting that everyone in the meeting can actually keep track of whatever is being said, just start taking notes. All right, take notes, or maybe ask if you could record the meeting so that everybody else might then follow at their own pace, just in case some people don't understand what was being said and they don't want to miss out or look like they're not paying attention. And some people take notes on their computer, so when some people are typing, sometimes they're actually just taking notes, they're not doing something else. So you need to make sure that you just set the stage and let everybody else know that we're recording this call, so maybe there's no need for you to take notes. Turn the dialogue into some sort of a structure where everybody else is involved. All right, because half of the time some people are visual learners. Okay, and if you're giving the meeting a visual sort of structure, you're making it easier for people to follow along. So if you've created a keynote or some sort of presentation, make sure you are highlighting as you go where people should pay their attention to, especially if something is on the screen, and make it easy for people to ask you questions as it goes. All right, because this also helps for you to bounce between topics, because some people are following visually, and you can easily come back to certain topics if you have them right in front of everybody and people know exactly what is actually happening. And finally, if you're actually taking notes on whatever the dialogue is, you can literally circle back and make plans, or actually delegate the work that needs to be done predicated on the notes that you have taken. And if somebody suggests a good idea, make it actionable so that whatever is being suggested is actually taken into account, and ask what the next steps would be, and just give everybody else an opportunity to participate. All right, that's one thing that needs to happen, especially when you're in a virtual meeting, because when somebody is in the space, in their own space, You never know what's happening behind them. You never know what's behind the virtual background that they have. You know what I mean? Their mind might not literally be, along with what you're doing. So just make sure everybody is in full participation mode. All right. And listen, because that's the whole point of communicating. Because if you're communicating and people don't understand what it is that you've said, or you don't understand what they're saying, then there's no communication that's happening there, right? So when you're in a meeting, it's just as important to listen what is not being said. Okay, that's often where the underlying intentions actually stay. If you can bring those tensions out and make it easy for people to show up, you give everybody else a collective sigh of relief. You see, the thing is, I'm black, all right? And I actually put it across before anybody else, starts thinking, oh, how do I address them? How do I speak to him? Oh, how do I, what pronouns do I use for this person, etc., etc. Just put it out in the open so that everybody else is comfortable, and then you can start looking and dealing with the case at hand. Okay? Don't ever let tensions keep going, all right? It might seem like a short-term conflict, but if you take somebody out of that process, it will make things easier in the long run, okay? So listen when people sort of hesitate to maybe mention certain things or address, certain articles that need to be addressed. So you know what that means? That means you should be asking better questions during your virtual meeting, all right? Just so that everybody else is involved and people actually have an understanding of, why they're there, okay? Now, you see, right now you understand the principles of, and of running a virtual meeting, and you've created the context of why they're in the meeting to start off with. There's a few types of questions that will actually guide your virtual meetings and actually put you in a good light as an elite consultant, all right? The first one is probing, all right? A probing question actually helps you to create space where everybody feels safe to contribute. It's very important that you get people feeling safe that they can contribute. And often a probing question is actually usually asked to those people that are quiet and more introverted, and especially the people that don't show up, with their, on their video, so they can share what it is that they're thinking, and so they can actually be involved. All right. So an example of this question will be, hey, how does this relate to what you're working on right now? Or how does this relate to how your business is going right now? Things of that nature. It actually gets them to dig deep and actually start asking themselves, oh, wait a minute. Am I going to be asked, would this be in the test, so to speak? Okay. And some of the questions should also be provocative. Not exactly as in trying to make people angry, but a provocative question actually brings out what is not being said. Okay, it's used to actually help maybe foster an environment for you to create that collaborative candor that we're talking about earlier on, right? So, you can say, something that's provocative is, we haven't talked about marketing yet. What do you, what can we do to move this forward? We haven't talked about your revenue as yet. What can we do to, get things started? And no question is a stupid question, especially in this virtual world, okay? A stupid question isn't really stupid. It's just a question that just shows a bit of vulnerability. And because it does that, it's actually one of the most powerful questions that you can ask. All right. When somebody says something and you don't understand, you might just go to them and say, hey, this might sound a bit basic, but can you talk more about why this is important to you at this current moment? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, once somebody has an understanding of, that you've been listening and you, just really trying to clarify and understand what they've been saying, people love being listen to. Okay, so like I said, the topic of this podcast: make your next online meeting your best one yet. All right, because a lot of meetings out there are mediocre to say the least. You want to make sure that you literally are out there connecting with and relating to the people that you're speaking to, and making sure everybody feels valued. They don't feel like their time has been wasted, and they don't feel like this could have been yet another email that somebody could have just sent out to them. Okay, and you don't have to groan at the thought of yet another virtual meeting if you're doing it right, and if you're actually creating and being around people that you love working with. Right. So if you look at the principles that I've just said within this podcast, the tactics and the tools, you actually make your virtual meetings much more engaging, much more productive, and even a lot more fun. I have fun with my meetings, and one thing that I want you to encourage yourself to do is just do unto others as you would want done to yourself. If you're attending somebody's virtual meeting, just show up on time. All right, and then just make sure everything is working, your microphone is working, your lights are okay. Not that when you're now on the meeting, you are tinkering with your technology and things of that nature. Just make sure you make everybody else safe and heard while they are talking to you. Above all else, I want you to remember this. Executives, especially if you're talking about your consulting, your training, your information, your expertise, and some sort of paid speaking endeavors out there, your clients are usually executives. These are people that are busy, all right? They're people that don't, they engage in high-level meetings, and some meetings are so professional. And if you show up unkempt, if you show up disheveled and your things are not working, you're not only wasting their time, but some of these people are not going to give you an opportunity, all right? And one thing is, even if you're working from home, let me tell you something. Even if you're working from home, you literally have to show up as if you are meeting these people in person. It doesn't matter, okay? Because being unprofessional just because you're at home is a no-no. And that's the reason why you finding it difficult for you to show up in that meeting. Because if you're well-dressed, like I always dress up as if I'm going somewhere, but I never go further than my office every single day. I never go outside, even to pick up the mail outside the house. I never do. I just dress up because I know what I'm doing is important, okay? And since you're working from home all day, it's easy to get a little bit slack about maybe your appearance and how you portray yourself. And you may sit behind a computer and have no one else that you see all day long, and maybe you just get comfortable and you're not looking professional. What if Channel 9 calls up and they want an interview with a thought leader? What if a big TV station just rocks up and says, we want an immediate interview? Are you going to tell them to come tomorrow? You always have to be ready, okay? And like I'm talking about these executives, they're usually surrounded by yes men and yes women. You will position yourself as their trusted advisor by taking the opposite approach, all right? Most of these people are showing up just, to tick a proverbial box. But if you literally change their experience, you literally make them realize that they are speaking to an equal, guess what? You position yourself as somebody they would actually want to talk to, the next time. So don't sugarcoat things and tell them, if they're wrong, or tell them if they're, off course, or if they're not being respectful of your time. They'll trust you even more because, they now know that they can count on you to be more objective and be their trusted advisor. So obviously the pandemic has affected how we meet and connect with other people and how we actually network. So it is in your best interest to actually make sure that you are helping your clients usher themselves and connect with you virtually, okay? And maybe what I've been saying has been just something that you might already know, or it's something that you might not pay particular attention to. But how you show up in the world is how literally people would connect with you and actually have an understanding of how they can work with you. All right. So after you've listened to this podcast, I want you to let me know, what have you seen that actually works well for you, especially in virtual meetings? And what's your superpower? Because that's the one thing that you need to show up with. My superpower is basically the shelf behind me. It's not a virtual shelf. It's one of the biggest libraries I have ever seen in a domestic place. Okay, so it's usually a conversation starter, and everybody's always asking me, "Hey, have you, read every book?" Find something that actually gets you to connect with your audience, so that you can literally create your marketing engine and set up a lead generation system to constantly attract the right ideal clients. And you want to be speaking to them over Zoom or over meetings where you can literally help them by actually helping them. Okay, so with this podcast comes, a download that will help you become better at networking and build long-lasting connections and grow your business or your career. So download the 5 virtual networking mistakes that you should avoid, and obviously, if you're looking for a no-nonsense approach for you to actually start getting leads online and easy strategies that actually work fast, then virtual meetings are going to be the way to go, and they're not going anyway. So you better get used to them and avoid burnout or any Zoom fatigue that might be caused by you not actually understanding what is expected of you during a virtual meeting. I can't wait to jump on your meetings and just see you performing in front of your audience and literally creating for and relating to the people you're going to be demanding money off of. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, let's continue the conversation in the Live Long Digital community. Become a Live Long Digital community member today. This community is for ambitious entrepreneurs and small business owners with the drive to take control of the future of their businesses and achieve huge success without stress and overwhelm. As you heard, Prosper can help you by teaching you marketing strategies that work. So look no further than the Live Long Digital community of entrepreneurs and highly successful business owners. Join our community today. Find us on www.community.livelongdigital.com.au. Network with other driven entrepreneurs and find the expert guidance you need to take your business to the next level. www.community.livelongdigital.com.au